Joining me now is former Army Special Operations soldier and Fox News contributor Brett Vilikovich and retired Lieutenant Colonel and Defense Priorities Senior Fellow Daniel Davis. Colonel Davis, I'll go to you first. Your take on this apparent gaffe saying Putin cannot remain in power. That's a pretty bold thing to say, to have the White House turn around and just try to take it back.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's going to be flying very well in Moscow. And you got to know that Russia that's one of the things they're the most afraid of, because they've seen the United States do all kinds of regime change possibilities or try to do regime change in really places all over the world. And it's just never effective. And especially now when we're trying to negotiate a settlement, we're trying to get the two sides to stop the war, because we don't want this to go to a military conclusion, because so many more thousands would probably die. And, and especially on top of what you just mentioned there about the comment about the Polish troops from Poland maybe going into Ukraine later. And then you also had Lindsey Graham a few days ago talking about how someone Russia should assassinate Putin. These things don't help us reach a conclusion. It makes Putin more afraid of us. And that's not good, because he's got that nuclear button. And no matter what anybody wants to say, that's not an outlandish possibility that one day he could use that. And we got to back off from that and do things that make sense and are rational.
Colonel, I couldn't agree with you more. It just ups the chance for a miscalculation. Thanks for saying that. Brett, let me go to you. We have video of you in the front lines there in Ukraine. Explain to us, what's the situation like there right now on the ground?
Yeah, well, it's catastrophic, and some of this video is taken from some other guys that were out there on the front line in Mykolaiv, Ukraine. And this video shows the reality on the ground here at the front lines and the true chaos of war. I mean, some men are having to push their way through heavy fire and barrages of artillery from both sides to render medical aid to civilians who are trapped in areas with some of the heaviest fighting. And these are groups here risking their lives every single day to extract civilians out of these stranded areas that are in the crossfire. But with that, I really want to talk about something important, and I hope you'll carry this message, Dan. I'm moving around the country quite a bit, and I'm even running across some Americans, British, and other foreign fighters who are coming into Ukraine to actually fight on the front lines. And they're coming in by the dozens to join this international territorial defense group consisting of these foreign fighters. But after what I've seen, I want to caution others out there thinking about doing this because of what I'm witnessing on the ground. Many of these guys, great Americans, they mean well, but at least half of those Americans I'm seeing coming in to fight, I end up seeing leaving only a couple days later, because they don't truly understand what they're getting into and how bad it is on the front lines. They've got in way over their head. This is real war. This is not Call of Duty. It is not a game. Do not come out here if you don't know what you're doing. Don't come here if you don't truly understand the brutality of this combat environment. A lot of these guys are thinking that when they cross the Ukrainian border, they're going to be handed a Javelin missile, night vision, sniper rifles, a bottle of champagne by the Ukrainians, and that's just not the reality. The Ukrainians are doing everything they can with what military equipment and supplies they do have, but they barely have enough weapons as it is for their own people. And the ones coming here, they're becoming a liability. There were 10 of these guys standing there at this site I was at recently near Kyiv with no combat gear, and the local military could only offer them literally 2 rifles and 30 rounds of ammunition among the entire group. So weapons from NATO countries are not getting here fast enough, despite what the administration is saying. And you could be taking gear from Ukrainian soldiers who actually need it on the battlefield. So I just want to pass that message. And there's better ways for, I think, people to help, especially on the humanitarian side or the medical efforts going on. And we could really use that assistance.
That's an important message, Brett. I've seen some others warning about that as well. Colonel, just a quick follow-up with you. Joe Biden's reportedly backing off his campaign promise by refusing to rule out using nuclear weapons to deter attacks from Russia. You're again, miscalculations, my biggest concern. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a bad move. Well, we absolutely need to stick with that, because the only reason we should use nuclear weapons is if we either are in danger of having a nuclear attack against us, or if one's already in process, and nothing else. Because if you use one when maybe they wouldn't have, you can be guaranteed that some are coming back. And we cannot risk American cities on a miscalculation or a bad decision. Those things could destroy our country, and we cannot go down that path.
Yeah. Guys, thanks a lot. Stay safe. Really appreciate it.